Since then, we've seen a steady coin slowly take over traditional money in a big way, and this isn't going to stop. To be more specific, it's getting faster and faster. Almost 5% has been added to the stablecoin market in the last 30 days. And this is pretty big for a market worth more than $250 billion. And the number of transfers each month just jumped over $3 trillion. More than 37 million addresses are active every month, and more than 174 million people hold addresses. This market is so big that it can't be ignored any longer. Another strange thing about RWA is the market cap that it shows. As you can see, XYZ is wrong compared to the market cap of that coin. The most up-to-date view shows that it's $272 billion. However, ROUSD is the thing I've been most interested in, because the market value of RLUSD keeps going up. We've reached $570,000, which is almost $8 million. Of course, we might also see RLUSD here. Let me look for it right here. We could see that the market cap has gone up by more than 31% in the last 30 days. The number of holders is up about 5%, and the amount of money transferred each month has jumped almost 18% in the last 30 days to over $3.2 billion. Again, the only reason I'm interested in RUSD is that Ripple has been putting everything they have into their stablecoin project. Why wouldn't they? We just saw one of the biggest bills about stablecoins pass. This will have a much bigger effect on the market cap of stablecoins and the amount of money that is transferred every month. We just passed that a couple of weeks ago. Give it 6 months, wait a year. Stablecoins will only get bigger from here on out. However, let's get right to this, because we just saw a big report from JP Morgan, which is the biggest bank in the world. They said that crypto stablecoins would be added to the regular money system and that real-world assets would be tokenized more. This is a clear sign of what's to come, right? And a flood of money into stablecoins is on the way. And now that we think about it, we should go back to stablecoins, right? We go back to stablecoins and look at the networks, because if we think about the networks that these stablecoins live on, we can see that some exchanges and networks aren't really good for trading stablecoins, because the network itself can't handle trillions of dollars moving through it every day, week, or month. But when we think of networks that can do it, we see names like XRP, Hedera, and Stellar. Now is the time for people to pay attention to these kinds of networks. That's because stablecoins are becoming more and more a part of the US banking system. This is because more and more money is being moved with stablecoins. You know what that means, right? That means more people will want to use these public networks. That means more people will want to buy gas tokens. That's the gas coin. It could be XRP, HWAR, or XLM. It doesn't matter. Yes, that means that a lot of people will want that pass to buy. That will change how much these pieces are worth. So XRP could go up by 2, 3, or 4 times its value based on how much money moves around on the XRP ledger because of the stablecoin boom. On top of that, though, right, this is something that Brad Garlinghouse has talked about before. It had to do with eToro. Here is the Genius Act from Riz XRP. It lets a lot of things happen. Pay close attention to this movie. As a way to deal with different currency types and help customers, Ripple has used stablecoins, specifically US dollar stablecoins, for many years. And to be honest, it has worked better sometimes. For this reason, we've sometimes used Tether and sometimes USDC. In fact, we were in charge of making 20% of all USDC at one point. We also saw that the market was growing, which meant there was a chance to make money. For our customers who work in, institutions, we thought it was a good chance to jump in. When you look at what's coming up for safe coins, I think the market will continue to grow a lot. I mean, I think the market was worth about $120 billion when we chose to release a safe coin. It's almost $200 billion today, I think. And some smart people think it will be a couple of trillion in 5 more years. That's why I'm sure the market will keep growing. By far, the most important stablecoin right now is the US dollar. However, I think you will see some movement in the euro and maybe even the yen. We'll find out how far that goes. We want to make sure that the XRP system works the best, is the safest, and is the most useful. And having a stablecoin based on the XRPL that is strong, reliable, and efficient. There is a lot of trust in Ripple's name because it has worked with institutions for years. Finally, we have a huge amount of cash on hand that we believe could help make the RLUSD or Ripple USD successful if needed. And yeah, listen, this makes room for projects like XRP when we think about rules and standards. Again, Ripple is not XRP and XRP is not Ripple. Ripple's goal here is to show that legitimate projects and companies like Ripple and XRP will be at the forefront of this big boom thanks to regulations and compliance. This is because they have been working with regulators and institutional players for so long, which is the main reason why XRP is called the banker's coin. This is something I just talked about on X, right? I told you that no one is ready for what's coming to this market. It was a joke. But I did say that institutions are max bids. And guess who has been catering the XRP ledger to institutions for years? Even though Bitcoin Max has called it the banker's coin, Ripple and XRP have been used. But Jack McDonald also wrote a great post about the Genius Act. He said that since the Genius Act was signed into law, more consumer goods, retail, platform, and tech companies are looking into whether they need their own safe coin. This comes from the CEO of Standard Custody and the SVP of stablecoins at Ripple. But let's be honest, putting out a stablecoin is not the same as putting out a new app. It is infrastructure, and if you mess it up, it will have real effects. A stablecoin isn't an add-on or a function of a product. It's the financial infrastructure, and that means a lot of trust, compliance, funding, and responsibility. What do most of these businesses want? Not having to pay fees to swipe a credit card, getting paid faster and with fewer middlemen, building trust and closed-loop spending, and possibly making more money from interest on reserves. These business schools are good, but they're not the whole story. The trouble is that most of these models were only meant to be used in one ecosystem, also known as walled gardens.